am so happy that we have today, we filed a lawsuit in this courthouse that is named after Brian Simpson. And he was a civil rights leader. And I mean, when it wasn't popular. I don't know whether it's popular now, but he was during the time when it really wasn't popular in the 50s. And so this courthouse is named after him. I had the honor of naming this courthouse. And so the attorney has filed a lawsuit this morning, I guess between 8:30 and 9. I want him to tell you about the lawsuit, and then I will tell you why we did it. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Neil Henriksen. I have the honor of representing the plaintiffs in this case that include Congresswoman Brown, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, the Democratic Executive Committee for Duval County, and a variety of individual citizens of Duval County. This is a lawsuit related to the prohibitions and suppression of votes from the legislature's early voting changes, amendments that took place in 2011 and will be implemented in Duval County in August for the upcoming primary and then in November. And this is a lawsuit based on the work, if you look at Exhibit C to the complaint, of a Professor Daniel Smith, who's a national and internationally known expert on voting patterns. He has found that the changes to early voting, cutting out the Sunday before Election Day, shortening the time period, has a disparate impact, a discriminatory impact on African American voters. In particular, his work, which is attached as Exhibit C, an affidavit, shows discriminatory effects of the changes to the early voting law in Florida on African Americans throughout the state and in Duval County. This lawsuit is a lawsuit to hold those statutes unconstitutional under the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, the 15th Amendment to the Constitution, and the First Amendment to the Constitution. It also seeks to hold those laws unlawful, illegal under the Voting Rights Act of 1965 and the Florida Constitution.
Let's sit in a nutshell. Would you like to speak? Yeah. Okay, hold on.
National, state, and local chapter of the SCLC Jacksonville is in full support of the lawsuit. The opportunity to exercise one's right to vote is a right covered by the Constitution of the United States of America. Anytime you intentionally change something that hinders one way from having easy access to vote and exercise the right to vote, you violate federal law. The comments on the affidavit speaks for themselves. The comments that took place on the debate floor in the House of Representatives and Florida legislature by Representative Bennett speaks for themselves, and I quote, "I do not want to make it easy for them to get to the polls," or words of that effect. Who are the them? Based on the data, minorities are the them.
Right.
I'm Travis Bridges, Chair of the Duval County Democratic Executive Committee, and the Executive Committee is in full support of this lawsuit.
Let me just say that in 2000 we had a coup d'etat, and people said, "Get over it." They threw out and did not count 27,000 votes right here in Duval County. And I committed that as long as there is breath in my body, I am going to do all I can to make sure that the people I represent have an opportunity to vote. Now, when you look at the data, it shows clearly we are 13% of the population, but we vote about 58% in early voting. And to just cut out the Sunday before or even shorten the period affect people in my community. Let me tell you what kind of community I represent. A working community. They catch the early bus, 7 o'clock, and they get off at 7 o'clock. And so you want to, and you've said it, you want to stop African Americans and others from voting, not just in Duval County, but particularly in Duval County, is unacceptable. And we are asking them to stop it. We're asking on the Secretary of State. We're asking on the Supervisor of Election, who I've been fighting with, that is trying to close the Gateway office, which is one of the best voting precincts, and build another facility for $5 million where we don't have any money. And I spoke with the new owners, and they're willing to do whatever it needs to be done to fix the facility. Just throwing that in for your information. So the key is that people need to know what is going on, and there is a deliberate attempt to suppress the African American vote. We had Martin Luther King in here less than a week and a half ago, and he said he couldn't believe 47 years later we still talking about the right to vote. Same thing, and a poll tax. And we want to reinstatement of early voting, and we want it now. Right now. We want it now. Right now. Listen, I am prepared to lose an election, but I am not prepared to let you steal one again. All right. If you're going to win, you need to win straight up. That's right. And you should not try to disproportionate affect a population that, as I say, catch the early bus and get off late. And with that, we will open it for any questions that you might have. But I read the brief, and it is excellent. And it is clear that the reason, and it wasn't in the House bill or Senate bill, stopping the early voting. It was one of those things that just dropped in. So with that, yes ma'am.
Congresswoman, why do you think this is a racial issue?
The data shows it. I mean, the analysis clearly shows that you are trying to suppress the African American vote. And if you read the affidavit, it is clear. And of course, you know, the reason why, listen, we had serious problems in 2000. And to the credit, the legislature corrected it in 2004, I think. And so now we want to go back to stopping. It just didn't help African Americans. It helped everybody, the early voting, and the length of the period, so that people could, you know, work and go and vote. And a lot of people vote on Saturdays, Sundays. But when you look at the supervisors in their statement, they're saying you're taking the flexibility away from us. You always talk about state rights and local rights. You're taking the local right away to give them the opportunity to let each kind of determine when is the best time for their people to vote.
Ms. Brown, there's still early voting. There's still a window for early voting.
Yes, but you've gone from 15 days to 7. Wow. And you've taken out, you cut it in half, and you've taken out the Sunday, the last Sunday leading up to the election. As you know, and studies will show, that's when people start focusing in on the election. This is an organized effort to suppress the African American vote, not just here in Florida, but all over the country.
Is it your intention to get this resolved in the November election?
No, I want us to be able to get it resolved for August the 14th. I'm asking for an injunction right now.
This law was changed today. Why follow the suit now? Why not do it earlier? Wait.
It's a lot of lawsuits going on, and I talked to the civil rights community in Washington, and I've been talking to them, and there is a court, you know, they're in the D.C. court, and in talking to them, they don't feel that their issue is going to be resolved before August, but we got a primary in August, and I want to get it ready for August. Let me tell you something, the last time we had early voting was May, what was that date? Last year when Alvin Brown won.
May 15th?
May 15th. The next Sunday, I was in Miami. They stopped it. They stopped it the next Sunday. When the governor signed it, Rick Scott, they stopped it the next Sunday. I was down in Miami. It was so much confusion because people was expected to vote on Sundays. So it was organized, planned, and usually, and by law, because Florida is under the voting rights, it should have been pre-cleared by the Justice Department. It did not. They said when we signed it, it's the law. So they didn't even send it to the Justice Department.
That's slick.
So it wasn't slick. It was planned, organized corruption in Tallahassee, trying to disenfranchise or stop African Americans from voting.
Congresswoman, for the voters that you say, they're hardworking, they have the long days, the supervisors told us that, while the days are fewer, the hours on those days are longer, actually opening up early voting opportunities after work maybe, or before they go into work. Do you support having longer days?
If you look at the study, it shows that we used all 14 days. We didn't have the problems of long lines. We had a major problem in 2000. And basically, why are you making an inconvenience for them? It doesn't cost anymore. Supervisors have verified it doesn't cost anymore. So if you're not getting that cost, why are you cutting down on the amount of time that you're permitting people to vote? And why should it be an issue? That's good. Why is it an issue?
As part of this complaint, is there a registered voter in Duval County that is named on it as part of the lawsuit?
I'm a registered voter in Duval, early voting.
I'm just looking at the lawsuit. Is there a voter specifically named who's here today that is part of the lawsuit?
There are 11 voters.
11 local voters?
In the complaint, and you'll see it in the...
Are any of them here today?
Yes.
Would one of them like to speak?
Raise your hand if you're on the complaint.
Oh, you're?
Yeah, I'm on the complaint.
Okay.
But we have 11.
There's only 2 of them.